A little bit more about John Wick today and a couple other things. John Wick is off to a good start. Got $73.5 million.
Ooh.
That was in the U.S. The U.S. alone. I think the total international was 114 million.
Okay.
I wanted to open on this one first because this next little link has a spoiler. So if you haven't seen John Wick, spoilers. So it did so well that they're already talking about John Wick 5. So a couple of things I saw about the making of John Wick 4 since we saw it, which I hadn't watched any of it. I didn't really want to know too much about the movie. But Keanu Reeves and the director have said many times that, like, yep, this is it. Keanu Reeves was saying after the premiere last week that, like, he's not doing it anymore and that this was the last movie. He's definitely dead. He goes on to be like, the movie's about his death. Like, it's the whole movie. It's all about that. So it's not like they could just change that in the future. And he even said that it's always been their intention not to trick the audience. So this would be like the peak way of doing that.
Wow.
So with that said, like, fast forward a week and they're like, yeah, we could do another one. I don't think Reeves has said that at all, but there's talk already about a fifth one. So how would you feel about that, though?
I mean, I wonder, would they do it without Keanu and try to, like, reboot it with someone else?
That they're definitely doing. Oh, you mean like recast John Wick?
Yeah, like if they're going to make a John Wick 5, I don't know. I'm just wondering, because Keanu said that, why would he change his mind in a week? Maybe he wasn't on the same page as them.
It could be something like that. I don't know. This reminds me of hearing Robert Downey Jr. start to change his tune a little bit about Iron Man, because it was like, that was it. That's the end. It's a great, beautiful wrap up. I'm not coming back. I'm moving on with my life. And then a while later, it's like, yeah, maybe. I could see a situation. I mean, the last movies you're in are about the multiverse and there's more of you now. Yep. So
for sure.
But it's the same feeling, because I feel like as much as I liked this movie, it was a good end to his story, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't think we need a 5 at this point. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't bother me either way, honestly. It's not one of the franchises at this point that I'm, like, really hinged on. I thought it was a good end. But
yeah, it was a good end.
Like you said, though, it was questionable in a way where it was like, could he come back? And it looks like maybe.
I think the way they edited that, he could come back. I think they could make that happen. I liked your suggestion that it should have ended with a samurai, like a good old-fashioned beheading.
The honor killing,
yeah, just to be sure. But I did bring up Iron Man, but I would say, with what you're saying, like, it's true that it's not on the same level as Iron Man. Like, Iron Man's story meant a lot more to me when it concluded than John Wick's, to be honest. It's different thing.
Right. Yep.
So if he came back, I wouldn't be as bothered by it, but at the same time, it's like, thematically, you kind of did your thing. So I love the idea they're branching out. They're going to do some other stuff, but
I mean, now that you said the Matrix idea that, you know, John Wick exists inside of one of Neo's programs and it's like a video game.
Yes.
And that's in my head a lot now. Like, it seems like it works. So a John Wick 5 using that as a backbone would work.
I think so.
And,
I think that could
honestly, like, what's the difference between Neo and John Wick? Like, the hairstyle?
Only a little bit. The hair. I don't know. I'm looking up right now if anybody's on this. John Wick is in the Matrix. Nothing's really coming up. How John Wick could be a Matrix prequel from Screen Rant? Okay, all right. I'll look into this. That is a fun theory, though, because there's a lot of games throughout John Wick. There's a lot of different games being played. They talk about games. They talk about chess and, like, this and that. They play cards, multiple scenes. Like, it's a theme. But, yeah, we'll see. There was something else about the John Wick I was going to mention, but
Some gun stuff. Got any gun stuff on the mind?
not really. No. Kind of. I did watch Granthum's video on the guns of John Wick, and they picked out of the 3 custom Terran Tactical. I think they led the design of the guns, or the guy at Terran made some decisions on it, but they were manufactured by other companies. But out of the custom guns made for this movie, the one that they liked the most was the shotgun, and it's not the Benelli M2. It's something else. Which was obvious once they said it, because it's instead of, remember in 3 he's quad loading he's got the shotgun shells between fingers, and he's just throwing shells into the shotgun. You can't see how fast he's doing it because it's such a smooth. It looks like he's putting 1 round in the shotgun in the gun, but he's putting like 2 or 4 at a time. And anyways, in this movie, he's got the magazine. It's magazine fed, so it's not. He's not loading 1 round at a time. He's picking up a magazine and then going off more. So very different. But they said that was their favorite gun. Everyone's had a crazy strong reaction to that Pit Viper, his little 9mm. Joe Rogan said it was his favorite gun he ever shot.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
That's what he was saying.
I mean, that's big too, because he shoots guns. So.
Yeah, and he's been there a bunch of times. That was at Terran Tactical, and but he said it emphatically several times. Like, nope, that's the nicest gun I've ever shot. He's pretty certain about that. So, yeah, we'll see about the John Wick. Yeah, we got the spinoffs coming, and but
we'll connect our Patreon. So if anyone wants to support us getting one of these Pit Vipers, feel free to leave a donation.
We will make videos of us shooting it, and we'll put those up, and that will be your reward.
We'll make videos shooting whatever you want with it.
Or go to our Subscribestar, and you can fund our Matrix John Wick crossover comic book that we just started writing just now.
Dude, that would be sick.
I think I wonder what the legality of that would be. I don't know.
As long as you got Keanu to give you the thumbs up, you'd be okay.
I won't even ask anybody else. Just him.
Just a direct line.
He's the only one I fear. I think he's literally like the most dangerous man in Hollywood.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I know we touched upon this in the John Wick 3 review, but like, I just think his actual gun and fighting skills is still being underestimated. Because those are real guns he's shooting while training. And you can see, so like in the movie, you know he's shooting blanks. And so he doesn't have to actually be aiming at anything. The squid is going to go off, and the person's going to look like they were shot. The shot is complete, you know? But in real life, when he's at the range and he's shooting the real guns, it's like, dude, he just got the triple tap. He just shot him twice through the heart and then tapped him in the forehead. Over and over and over and over again. From like 30 yards away, 20 yards away, different guns, different positions. Like, he's doing it so fast. So, I don't know. It's just, have you ever seen those videos of like Navy SEALs training with the head cam, and they like go into the buildings and clear buildings?
Oh yeah.
And it's just really amazing how fast these people can move through a build. One guy is pretty much leading the whole thing the whole time. And he's got 4 guys behind him, I think, who are trailing right behind him. Like he could just like put his hand behind him and tap the guy behind him. They're super close. They were just behind him watching his back. Most of the videos, it's just one guy going through, and he's basically jogging through a building. And it's just like, again, like it's hard to imagine that actually happening in real life.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because it's just so fast, and that's why, you know, they're the best. So, you know, John Wick's a little different. Obviously, he's a fantasy man, but the Keanu Reeves.
Oh, he sure is a fantasy man.
He's the fantasy man. But what I'm proposing is that Keanu Reeves, with the skills he's built up since making The Matrix, he has become the most dangerous man in Hollywood.
Ooh, I think definitely with a gun. I mean, who else is going to surpass him?
Right. Yep. I could see the kung fu being like, you know, maybe it's not, you know, I don't know enough about Kung Fu to know.
I think he knows enough about Kung Fu to make it look good on set, but I don't think he'd be strong enough to take some of these younger martial artists that are in the field.
For sure. I'm sure that's true. But with the guns?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Though? I mean, Clint Eastwood's not on the scene anymore, so.
Oh.
He's a gunslinger.
That would have been a good showdown. Hey, that could be the comic. We could do a John Wick versus Clint Eastwood, or Keanu Reeves.
Or like Neo designs a game where Clint Eastwood meets John Wick in his game.
Is this the plot for John Wick 5?
Dude, it will be after they hear this.
They bring him back. So a couple months ago, Quentin Tarantino said that he had written a full show or a season. It was going to be a limited series, television series, and he had written it, and it was going into pre-production, or maybe he was still trying to sell it or get funding or something. But he announced that a couple months ago, and now there's some new details coming out. This was a couple weeks ago. I didn't see it until today, but it's called The Movie Critic. So,
and it's a show?
So this is the film. So he hasn't announced the plot for the show, and he hadn't announced the plot for his new movie. But now the plot for the movie is out.
Oh, The Movie Critic.
The Movie Critic. It's about... So, Quentin Tarantino is back for the last time because, yes, this is his 10th movie, and he said he was going to stop after 10 movies. I think that the exception is Kill Bill, right? Because Kill Bill would make it 10 already? Anyways, the filmmaker behind some of the most indelible movies of the past 3 decades, Pulp Fiction and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood among them, is putting together what sources say is being billed as his final movie. The Movie Critic is the name of the script that Tarantino wrote and is prepping to direct this fall, according to sources. That's pretty soon. Logline details are being kept in a suitcase, blah, blah, blah. So here it is. It is possible the story focuses on Pauline Kael, one of the most influential movie critics of all time. Kael, who died in 2001, was not just a critic, but also an essayist and novelist. Goes on to say she was in the 70s, did stuff with Paramount. She was a big famous movie critic. So.
Interesting. His last movie, I didn't know he had like a time frame for how long he was going to make movies. No.
Yeah, so what I mentioned about Kill Bill was it's 2 movies, but I think we count it as 1.
Yeah, because it was volumes, volume 1 and 2.
So it only counts as 1 movie. So this would be 10. But
wow.
I guess maybe television. He doesn't count television either because he is doing that show. So maybe he'll do more TV.
Maybe he's thinking to be a TV guy now.
Maybe. He said that he's said for a long time, and I think it's a little insulting to several people, that it's a certain age. It's not exactly about the number of movies, but it's an age that once you get past it, you're not in touch with the culture anymore. So he said in 2012... Okay, so yeah, he has espoused the philosophy that directors get out of touch as they age. In 2012, he said, I want to stop at a certain point. Directors don't get better as they get older. Usually the worst films in their filmography are those last 4 at the end. So...
Man.
Yeah, he's been like this for years. He does seem very serious about it. So
that's ageist.
Well, I mean, Scorsese, I really do love Silence, and I really do love Wolf of Wall Street's pretty good too. Scorsese's like, I don't know, he's probably got to be in his 70s. He's in his 70s for sure. And he's got a new movie coming out. That might be good. I don't know. Just weird. There's how old was Francis Ford Coppola when he made The Godfather? He wasn't young.
I mean, in a way, I feel like his movies will be worth more if he makes less, though, too. Maybe it's all like really like an advertising / like branding move.
It could be, but he hasn't been saying that.
It's interesting.
He has definitely been saying, and he said this at a round table with other directors. One of them was quite old. I forget who it was, but he said at a table with he said at a table with Ridley Scott. who definitely fits this bill. Like I would say Ridley Scott. I don't get excited for a new Ridley Scott. I just think he's kind of, I don't know, old. Like he is what Tarantino's talking about this in this. He said this in front of Ridley Scott.
Wow, the balls on this guy.
Yeah, and it was a weird interview. It was actually Hollywood Reporter around the roundtable discussion where, you know, there's a lot of awkward moments with Ridley Scott because they had some very young directors, first timers. Then you have people who I consider like in the middle, like Tarantino. He could work for another 2 decades. But then they have somebody like Ridley Scott who is at, you know, he's older man. He's done a lot of movies, classic movies, but the movie he had made right before this interview was The Martian. And I thought The Martian was very derivative and just, I didn't think it was a big deal. It was kind of a big deal. Like it made a ton of money and it got a lot of nominations and awards and stuff. But I was not a big fan of it. But my point is they were asking questions like, what was the hardest thing you had to do on your last movie? What was the big lesson you learned? And everyone's like, some of them are like existential and poetic, and some of them are like scheduling was like breaking my mind, and you know, very practical answers.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, there were no problems. We didn't have any problems. Nothing stressed me out. Nothing went wrong. Every day I knew what was going to happen, and it happened, and everyone did their job. And it's just like, yeah. So I think maybe Tarantino, and that was the roundtable that Tarantino said this, where like, yeah, you get past a certain age and you're shit. So I don't know. He does seem sincere about the whole thing. But we get one more movie, and we'll see.
We'll see. So I've heard that before.
So you think maybe 10 years goes by and he comes back with like a masterpiece?
Dude, if he waited 10 years after announcing his last movie, and then 10 years later comes out and is like, this is my life's work, like this is my manifesto, people would be like, oh my God, he could make a fortune.
Yeah. Imagine. I wonder if something big, like, I know Star Trek was caught in his craw for a long time. And, something like that, like 10 years later, he comes back with some Star Trek banger.
Dude.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hey, maybe we'll be here. Maybe Camp Divvy will be there to talk about it the day that happens.
We'll walk you all through it when it happens.
Yep. Another thing that is coming out, some more details about the new Adam McKay movie project with Robert Pattinson, Amy Adams, Robert Downey Jr. It's also got Forrest Whitaker and some lady who might be from Glass Onion. Is that just, am I being racist?
I don't know. I don't recognize her.
So Adam McKay, he's made a couple movies that I really love. So you know what he did? He did Step Brothers. He did Anchorman.
Oh, Anchorman, that's a good one.
He did Talladega Nights.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So
he's got some bangers.
And some big generational comedies. And he started getting a little more serious, but I enjoyed his sense of humor. Oh, he was a producer for The Menu. That's interesting. I got to close out of these because I want to look at. So, Vice, I thought was a really well-made movie, really great movie. I thought it treated the subject matter it was very interesting the way he dealt with the subject matter, which was Vice President Dick Cheney. And that was great. He did Anchorman 2 also. That's too bad.
Oh.
But then he did Don't Look Up. I don't know if you saw that. Don't Look Up came out a couple years ago now. I did not like that. It was very... it was kind of icky. So now he's doing a movie about a average height, average build is the name. After months of murmuring, the latest A-list ensemble project from The Big Short and Don't Look Up filmmaker Adam McKay has hit Hollywood. Titled Average Height, Average Build, the project is being described as part serial killer thriller, part comedy, following a killer who uses political lobbyists to change laws in order to make it easier for him to kill, according to sources.
Nice.
Like, what?
Subtle.
What could it actually be about? Like, I wonder what the themes are going to be. Like all of McKay's recent work, the project will tackle larger socio-political ills, a la the 2008 housing crises. The Big Short. The Big Short was good too. I thought it was really well made. It was a good movie. Yeah, Don't Look Up was like this description, but slapped onto like an environmental message. It's like you're the whole time you're watching it, like I know exactly what you want me to feel right now. There's only one thought I should be having right now, and you want me to be having that thought so bad, you know? And it's just so, it's very constricting. I'm not gonna watch it again, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's not like, it doesn't have a rewatchability.
That's the worst.
It is essentially propaganda, except like I think propaganda is not great to throw around if it's like a private work, you know? It's like some people made it, like the government didn't pay for him to make that movie, I don't think. But it's kind of propaganda though. It's just kind of like, well, like artistic work is supposed to be varied in possible interpretations. Propaganda is not. It's not. But
yeah, you just straight out and say it.
So yeah, it's about a serial killer who uses political lobbyists to change the laws in order to make it easy for him to kill. I don't know. We'll see. He's I think he's an interesting guy though. He's smart. The way he handled Vice I thought it was really interesting because it could have been a caricature. So like that's the thing. Don't Look Up. So many of the characters in it are caricatures of people you know of in real life, and Vice just it had, I don't know, like it was even-handed. It didn't go as hard as it could have on certain people.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see. So I don't know. There's not much else I was going to talk about today. You were watching. Have you seen more Andor?
Man, oh yeah, I was gonna mention that. So Andor, I've watched another episode or two, and then just it keeps being these stalls where like there's not really anything bringing me back into it. There's been a couple like okay scenes, but nothing really great to talk about. Like
no alien sex. Are we still not getting Star Wars alien sex?
Alien sex? I don't think so.
Huh.
No, Disney hasn't brought it there yet.
Well, I mean, they was like the whorehouse in the opening scene, so I thought maybe they were gonna get into that.
Oh yeah, it was like a kid might not have known that's what it was though. I was thinking that too, because it was weirdly like it was this place where you had to like walk behind curtains to like go where you were going to meet the girls.
It was very subliminal, or not subliminal, but it was implied.
It was implied, but I don't think like a kid that doesn't know what one of those is might have picked it up. Like
I bet there was one kid who was like, "Mom, why is his sister in the back?"
Oh, I'm sure there was several kids who asked that.
There? Why are all the guys here to see his sister, Mom?
Yep.
Well, son, his sister's a whore.
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of conversations you want your Disney shows to bring up with your kids, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what I think.
So, yeah, I can't really say anything too positive about that. Although I did watch a little Mandalorian. Mandalorian's super gimmicky still. But that, I think, is at least more enjoyable than Andor.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I disavow.
Dude, honestly, this is the situation where, like, if Andor had more action in it,
yeah.
I would probably be less, like, not interested. There's just so little action, but in Mandalorian there is more action, and it's better. It's just straight up better, like action sequences.
I only saw the opening scene with the Mandalorians are doing some kind of baptism in some lake where there's a huge, ferocious crocodile alien thing that attacks them.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible because you spend maybe a minute building up like, oh, the Mandalorians are so cool. They're coming out of this cave and they're doing this ritual and they've got all their armor on. You do a minute of that, and then you do 5 minutes of watching them all fail horribly at trying to fight against this thing that they know is there.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah. That was the worst part of that scene for me, is that they definitely knew that that thing would be in the lake, and yet they are completely unequipped to fight it.
I just don't know. What am I supposed to think of Mandalorians? Because they always look so terrible. They always look dumb and weak. I think the Mandalorian is cool. He's a cool character. They just didn't ever do much with him.
Yep.
And all of the rest of the Mandalorians I don't care about, because every time you come up in the story, they've all died off. They've all been like genocided like 3 times in the first couple seasons, where it's all like there's like a big pile of Mandalorian armor and the Mandalorian looks sad and somebody's like, well, that's all of them. You're the last one. And then like the next season, it's like, oh, we're all here. We're Mandalorians.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of that. And it's very like, they're trying to make it more episodic too. Like the big plot is going to end up being super simple with just like a couple of like detours along the way.
Yep. Side quests.
Yeah. It doesn't really have a lot of depth. But again, like I wouldn't watch it again. So that's like a C, I would say. Like if something's in the B's or the A's, I would watch it again, you know. C is like I'm enjoying it, but I would not watch this again. And D is like I'm not even really enjoying this, and I wouldn't watch it again. And honestly, the difference for me is like Mandalorian's like a C minus, and Andor is like a D.
It's at D now?
It's at a D.
Because it was before it was definitely at C.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like, I'll keep watching it. But
I don't think I'm going to even watch it.
Does it do that thing where it's building up like it's going to have a big fight and then it never happens? Because that can be a thing where that's frustrating, but you're not one to just not watch something because it doesn't have action in it. So
No. I think the bigger thing with the Andor show is that like I just don't give a fuck about anyone. Like the main character guy is like in trouble and kind of screwing people over since the beginning. It's really subtle, but it's like he just like causes this situation by
a rascal.
Yeah, he causes that situation by trying to get his sister and then lies to a bunch of the wrong people and kills a couple people to try to like get out of that. And I get he's trying to find his sister, but like everyone else that he's coming across in the story so far, it's like he's kind of screwing them.
And he hasn't found her yet?
No, not where I'm at. And I don't know. It's just boring. I don't know. It's like also like the Star Wars thing is so disappointing now too. Like I feel like the Mandalorian is already its own kind of disappointment, especially as it keeps getting longer. Like we watched probably the first 3 episodes of Mandalorian, and the 4th one's been on there, and we just haven't watched it because it's just nothing is like pulling us back into it, you know?
Yeah, I'm so not interested in Star Wars at all anymore.
I totally hear you, man.
Like, even hearing about some positive Andor things about it being, you know, this and that, and it's probably worth checking out. I know it's gone down a little bit, but when you were first mentioning it, saying it was of higher quality than the rest, partially because it was in production for like 4 years. Yeah. And but I was like, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's not sour. It's just, I don't care, which is unfortunate.
I mean, you know, there's something about like, they're trying to use like a template without like the base story. Like the base story of 4, 5, and 6, like the originals, the best, whatever. The story of it. Like if you just wrote out the basis of that story in like Roman times or something, not contemporary, not space, but like you just really simplified it and was like, you know, here's Luke, he's this guy's son, this is what happened with him, this is someone who knew him, who's watching him in the same town as him, looking out for him. Like it's just a very good story. Like if you simplify it all the way, it's still a really good story. And I feel like these ones are already simplified in like a bad way, but they're not good. They just don't have like any of the storytelling stuff to draw you in. They're just using formulas that already exist without their own new story to tell. You know, like, I don't know. It's annoying.
Yep, there's no purpose.
There's no purpose. Yeah.
There's no purpose.
What is that Ringo Starr movie where everyone is looking for a point? Or no, it's just the one character. So they all have points. Everyone has a point except for the main character. It's a cartoon by Ringo Starr.
Oh, I don't know that.
And there's one character who's looking for his point the whole time.
What?
It's really funny.
Huh.
If you haven't seen
is
that,
it in one of the Beatles movies, you think?
it's
They had a
no,
couple
no, no.
animated
It's
movies.
a movie that was written by Ringo Starr.
What?
And it's a cartoon.
What?
And the dog's name is Arrow. And there's this song that's like, me and my arrow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know that song.
I'm almost positive
Maybe
that's
that'll be
Ringo Starr.
our next review.
I'm gonna find the name of it.
Dude, some of these Mandalorians can't even fly. Like they get thrown and then, so like most of these people have jetpacks on and they're walking up to this creature with flamethrowers.
Jeez.
It's like what? Anyways, that's enough Mandalorian for me. But
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm not recommending it to anyone. There's some
I haven't
moments.
I still haven't seen Black Panther. Also, just don't care. I did watch Thor. Thor was, but so, yeah. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do next time? You think?
Dude, I'm so confused about what this movie is called. I'm gonna get back about it.
Yep, that could be our next review. Actually,
Yeah,
the
it's
Ringo Starr thing.
it's actually a good one. So yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do next time?
The
I don't
Ringo
know.
Starr movie.
Ringo Starr movie, sure. What else did you say was coming out? Mission Impossible. So we
Yeah,
got that on
comes
the
out in
horizon.
July. Yeah, so there's a few movies I'm excited for through the year. There's probably 6 that I'm excited for.
Okay.
So Mission Impossible is one of them for sure, but I think there's one that comes out in a couple weeks. I was interested in that Russell Crowe Exorcist movie
Oh, okay.
until the last 15 or 20 seconds of the trailer. 'Cause
Every trailer.
I know, yeah. The trailer just kind of went off the rails at the end, and I was like, oh, is it going to be like one of those movies? At first, I thought it looked very cool, though. You know, I like the vibe. I like that setting. We got like a Italian exorcist who works his way up to being the Pope's exorcist, and he's on some case, and he's, I don't know, looked weird.
Who doesn't love the setting of possessed Catholics?
I think the Pope gets possessed in the movie.
Oh no.
That's what it looked like. Because it was like, oh, you don't know where this is ending. And he's like saying something in Italian. And then the demon's like, I'm getting the Pope next. Ha 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 ha.
Oh no.
And then it looks back at Russell Crowe and he's like, oh, what? No, not the Pope.
Dude.
And the demon's like, you know how crazy that would be if I possessed the Pope? Russell Crowe's like, very seriously, like, no, don't do it. So that's the trailer.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why the Pope wears that hat. It keeps the demons out.
Maybe. It might have some kind of, maybe, you know?
Yeah,
If that turned out to be true, I wouldn't be the most surprised. But kids getting possessed and then having Russell Crowe come save them from the devil.
Sarcophagus. Oh my god.
It might be my kind of movie. It's just they're rarely good. You know, most of the time they're very forgettable.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see. I think,
Yeah, I would check that one out. That looks fun.
it gives me the creepies.
Look at that. Was a good Mary image, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
That was so Mary.
I get the creepies for sure.
Look at that one. Oh man, it's the Virgin Mary.
The Exorcist is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I don't want to ever see it again.
I don't think I've seen it, and maybe I shouldn't.
It's really scary. I think. But I don't know. Exorcism is one of those things. It's a great mystery to me. It's like there's a lot to it. So like these people that they're playing in the movie, I think it opens up with based on real events, something like that, which doesn't really mean too much, but this is a real position, and they're well paid. They're trained for decades, really. And when you become an exorcist for the Vatican, you only go to jobs after they've been through several screenings, versus from a mental health clinician. I think there's 2 levels to that, and then they have a local clergy go and check on the person, and then if the clergyman thinks that there's something wrong, then they reach out to the Vatican, and I believe the Vatican sends somebody before, like an actual exorcist. So there's a lot of levels to it happening, to an actual exorcism being conducted, and the number of people employed by the Vatican to perform these exorcisms, as it's up 10 times as many as they used to have. So
wow, that's kind of scary.
It's interesting. It's just it could be several things to me. Like I don't know what it is, but I don't know. But it seems to be an actual phenomenon. It does happen across all Abrahamic religions, but like I don't know about it happening outside of them, which is kind of interesting to me. It might just be that the perspective of like a Buddhist or some like Hindu, but like so there is like a lot of possession type stuff in India actually, but it's just like their framing is different. So like I don't know if they have exorcists or what, but yeah, like in all the Abrahamic religions, there are exorcists and there are possessed people that come about and they study them, and there's weird things like the language, knowing a dead language that you haven't had access to, and just speaking sentences in a language that there's no way you could have ever heard.
Yeah, that's creepy. If my kid just started talking in like Latin or something, like old Arabic or some shit, it would definitely freak me out. And then their voice was like, oh, no, something crazy.
Oh, shit.
Dude. And they start like vomiting and like twisting their head around. Dude. It's too much.
That sounds like maybe a crazy opening to John Wick 5.
Yes.
What if John Wick is connecting back to what was that movie? Constantine.
Constantine. I was about to say, what if Neo realized that he wasn't the one, but he was possessed, and then all that other stuff is coming through his possession because the devil is working through him.
Damn. And then Russell Crowe shows up, and he's like, "This is my Italian accent. How is it? And is it good?" And John Wick's like, Yeah. But so Pope's Exorcist comes out in like 2 weeks, I think. So
okay,
maybe we'll check it out. We'll see. Does Leah like scary movies?
Yeah, she would like this.
That